Mr. Bridges, welcome to the Opie and Anthony show, sir.
How are you, sir? Yeah, please.
Here we go.
Holy mackerel.
We're on the air. It's a pleasure to see
Hey,
you.
all right. Good morning.
Wow.
We're on if you want.
Wow, you're actually here.
Yes.
Here he is.
I'm used to seeing you on the big screen.
It's rare we get a lot of the A-listers to do morning radio.
Oh, don't say that.
No, but they don't like
say that.
doing
We
it.
get a lot of A-listers, Mr. Bridges.
Good.
Do you like morning radio or do you not like it?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good right this second. You know, a little sleepy. I'm looking forward to my coffee. It should be here soon.
Any second.
Up to speed.
Right.
You played one of my favorite roles.
You can't hear?
Just down just a skosh.
Yeah, you got your.
But I imagine it's a little. Hold on.
We're probably blowing out Mr. Bridges' ears right now.
Is it right here? Right
Yeah.
here?
You got it?
Good. Yeah, cool. Thank you.
I almost told him left to turn it down, right to turn it up, but I'm assuming he knows how to do that.
My mother is in love with you before we get into the interview. In love with you.
Yeah, cool, man.
Yeah. She's an older broad, but she...
Well, that's all right. I like older broads.
Yeah.
She was in love with Jeff Bridges. We'd talk about Mr. Bridges all the time.
Jeff's a very handsome guy. He played, you were in King Kong. Let's be honest, I'm not a woman, but back in those days, if I was, I would have hooked up with you if it was possible. As you stood on, where did they shoot that? That was one of the scene that stuck with me.
Oh man!
Where you're standing on the outside of the tower, and Jessica Lange and the ape on the other.
Yeah.
And that was a horrifying moment to me.
You know, it was a wild thing during that when we were shooting that. This little guy comes up to me and he says, how do you like my temple? I say, your temple? He says, yes, this is my temple. I said, what are you talking about? He says, oh, yes, I tight-roped across, and it was Philippe Petit.
Oh, no kidding.
And he lived right across the street from that, and he would look up at that thing every day. And say, this was his, his temple.
We're obsessed with Philippe Petit and what he did that day.
Man,
we talk about it all the time.
And then he was sentenced to to perform for free in the park for a year or something. And
right.
that was the year we were making Kong, and it was wild. He taught me how to juggle, which I think.
The thing about that day, now they figure all that stuff out and they test everything. He snuck in. And then you saw the documentary, right?
Oh yeah,
where he shot the arrow to get the line across, and then that was.
Can you imagine?
And he didn't know if it was all going to be, secure enough.
And he was planning that for years.
Right.
And all his friends, were laughing at it and say, "Yeah, we're with you," and they all fell out except for his best friend who went over to the other side.
It was just him and his.
Oh God. What a story.
And then he laid down on the wire between the towers. And that's what freaks me and Jimmy out. He said he saw planes flying above him.
Not just walking, but he did a 45-minute show. So he's been here and talked to you guys.
Yeah, a few years back we talked to him. And then we just had Nick Wallenda on a couple weeks ago, who did the Grand Canyon thing.
Oh, wow.
There's something about the towers, though. There's something about the way he had to rig that and sneak in that makes that so impressive.
Oh, God, amazing.
Did it annoy you a little bit, though, that you guys are doing this movie and he had to come over and just go, hey?
I walked between those two buildings.
Did it bug you a little bit that he had to come and get a little, kind of...
Why would that bug me?
I don't know, because if he's kind of coming over and getting, hey...
Actually, what his connection was, he used to perform with Jessica Lange. Yeah. In France, she was kind of a street performer.
So he knew her?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Did she remember him?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're buds, yeah.
Did you like the remake? I mean, it's always weird if you... I mean, even though your version was a remake, of course.
Yeah, but our version was kind of a joke. You had this guy, Rick Baker in the suit, and then they would cut to this, 90-foot tall, statue of an ape, and it was ridiculous. No, I thought the new one was, kind of spectacular. The ape was incredible.
You know what freaked me out? What I didn't like about the 77 version had nothing to do with you or the acting. It was that in the movie poster, because I was like 9 at the time, in the movie poster they show Kong straddling both buildings holding planes, and you're like, he's fucking huge.
Oh, yeah.
But in the movie, he didn't do that.
No.
He had to jump from one building to the other. I felt very gypped.
I remember as a kid, pretending to be sick so I could stay home and watch the original. I used to love that thing.
The original Kong.
The original Kong. Oh, yeah, that was great.
What made you get into acting? I guess Bo got into it first, and of course your father.
My dad. I mean, he wanted all of his kids to get into showbiz. He just loved it. It was kind of unusual for an actor, but he really dug it. Wanted us all to go into it.
He was great at it too.
That's just the opposite, right?
Not that I need to tell you that.
Mm.
Yeah, you hear a lot from guys like yourself that I don't want my kids to go into this business. It's too crazy.
Yeah, but he dug it, man. Oh, he said you got to do it. I wanted, for a long time, I wanted to. I said, well, I don't know, Dad. I'm thinking music. Maybe. And he says, "Oh, Jeff, come on." He says, "You're going to be able to play all sorts of things if you're an actor. You'll get to, do the musician thing, whatever you like. You use all of it." So I'm glad I followed his instruction.
What instrument do you play?
Yeah.
Guitar and piano.
You're supposed to be very good. I've heard you're very good.
Oh, I'm not real great musician, but I love playing music. I'm going out in the road here in a couple of days with my band.
You do have a band?
Yeah. My daughter Jessie's going to open for me.
Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah.
That sounds cool.
Yeah.
So, what's the name of your band and what kind of music you play?
The Abiders.
Nice.
Little country, little rock.
And do you sing?
Stuff, sing.
Okay.
Writes tunes,
That's cool. A lot of actors are doing. Kevin Bacon's got the band with his brother.
Kevin, he was in this movie that's coming out, R.I.P.D., and we jammed when we were, making that movie. That was a lot of fun.
Oh, really?
Yeah, a lot of actors,
Juliette Lewis is she's got a lot of music out.
Oh, she loves it. Yeah.
She's wonderful. And her dad, Jeff Lewis, we worked together before.
I don't know him.
Oh yeah, he's been in a lot of Clint Eastwood movies. You'd recognize him if you saw him.
Oh, really? I'm going to look that up. I'm going to Google that.
That was your first, by the way, Oscar nomination was for the Eastwood movie you did. I know, Thunderbolt and Lightfoot.
A picture show was before that.
Oh, was that your second?
Yeah, but Jeff Lewis was in Thunderbolt and Lightfoot.
But who did he play? I don't remember the movie. It's been many years.
There was George Kennedy, and he was George Kennedy's sidekick.
Do you find doing films now that are the scripts? I find a lot of the films are not they're just doing reboots and remakes of what they already did.
I know, man.
And I don't know what that is.
Yeah, well, it's it's the it's the business aspect of showbiz, and I guess the financiers want a sure bet or something, but
they don't want to take as many chances.
Yeah, I think the fresh stuff, that's what people want to see. They want to see something different.
Absolutely.
Can I tell you one of my favorite things you ever did? You play a great psychopath. Was the remake of The Vanishing?
Oh yeah, but the original was much better, man. Come on, you see the original?
I did the French one, yeah.
Oh, see, because my guy, my character, he got away with it.
Yeah.
And it was bizarre. The same director directed both of them, and he wanted the...
You want to change it up?
He wanted the American version, but it softened it, I thought.
Do you think he wanted it or the studio told him?
He wanted it that way. And the studio probably wanted it that way, too, but I think he was into it.
Wasn't that it was one of Sandra Bullock's early movies?
Yeah, it might have been her first, I think. I don't know.
Where she plays Kiefer Sutherland. All of a sudden, they're at a rest stop, and she disappears.
Yeah.
And he becomes obsessed with just finding Diane, and he wants to find his girlfriend because she's gone.
Right.
And then it turns out that fucking Barney.
Oh, God.
But the original was a masterpiece. I thought that's what got me on board on that movie.
Now we got to see the original.
Oh, God. It's chilling.
How did the original end?
The original ends when this guy's family, who buries, all these people alive, he's having a picnic with his family, at his cabin. Pass the ketchup, and underneath that table, under that table, there are all these people he buried alive.
Oh, wow.
Life goes on,
Well, they let you know, because the thing was, he didn't know. I don't remember in the French version. He didn't know how Diane died. He became obsessed with knowing what happened to her. So Barney approaches him and says, you'll experience everything she experienced.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that leads us to a question. Why do you think in America we need that happy ending, or we need everything tied up all nice by the end of a movie?
Oh, that's how we want life to be. Right?
But only in America, because when you do see the foreign films, they will go in those other directions.
Every once in a while, an American movie will go dark.
And we love it.
I dug it when, what was that movie I did about with, what was it? Shit, I can't think of the name of it. The bomb, the scare, I know I get blown up. I can't think, it'll come to me in a second. Early in the morning, man. That was a very dark ending of this particular movie. I remember the studio. We got a note from the studio. We want you to shoot a positive ending. And we went, shit. And the director made a very bold choice. He said, let's shoot it Arlington Road is the name of the movie.
Oh, just a little movie called Arlington Road.
And he says, we've got to do it, but we're going to make it terrible. We're going to just do a terrible job. And that was bold because, we could have lost. They could have said, thank you, and put that on there, but thank God they didn't.
That's great. That's hilarious.
But that's typical studio thinking, I guess. It's just, let's just get one for the case the focus groups don't like.
Even in our dumb world, we get that. Like, oh, that was really good, but let's shoot a safety.
Yeah.
And do it this way. And you're like, oh, that's the one they're going to use.
Yeah.
Do you think focus groups have hurt movies and stuff? I mean, they make them more financially probably successful, but do you think they've hurt, like, what films could become?
Maybe. I like the director to have the vision. One guy, just let him do his deal. That's my that's what I would vote for.
What motivates you to take a role? Because you've turned down a few gems.
Which ones? Because I heard rumors that I've turned down all kinds of things that it's not true.
Hooper and Jaws.
No.
That's not true?
No.
Right here, turn down the role of Hooper in Jaws.
I don't know who Hooper is. Who's Hooper?
Oh, Hooper was the shark. No, it was Matt Hooper was Richard Dreyfuss's part.
Oh, no.
Okay, that's one our Sal got wrong. Was that Sal?
Unless I wasn't, I don't even know about it.
Maybe your agent did.
Yeah.
Well, do you know one that you did turn down?
No.
Not really?
I can't think of anything I turned down that I wish I hadn't.
Right.
But what did you turn down that would be considered a big movie?
Because you guys all have to have one.
I can't even.
Did you turn down the lead in Raiders of the Lost Ark?
No, negative. I've heard that one.
Okay.
Wait, it's on the list?
Oh, yeah. I would never make this up.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Those were.
Do you have any more, or is that it for him?
Yeah. Were you really in True Grit? Let's just make sure that I have the right stuff on.
I like to on that one, True Grit, working with the brothers. They're the master filmmakers. So anything they want me to do, I'm on board.
What motivates you to take a role? Obviously, you have to like it, but are there other? Do you care about who you're working with, or do you care about?
Yeah, that's a big part of it. The kind of movie I like to see, that's where the filmmakers are kind of ahead of you, something fresh, that's a little different. And
what do you do? They say you meditate before you go on set, or is that just another lie that's been thrown into the prep?
It's a semi-lie. I meditate at times to do,
But you don't do it before you walk on set every time?
Not every time.
Okay, but we just have no accurate information. Your name is spelled Jeff.
3 F's.
3 F's.
It's fucking amazing.
I love meditation. I just got into it.
You say, yeah?
I just got into it. I don't know what the hell I'm doing, Mr. Bridges.
That's your.
But I like it.
Man. Isn't it cool?
It's cool.
Oh yeah.
It settles my brain, and I want to get into it even deeper and try to figure it all out. Just 10 minutes a day, just by yourself, trying to get that brain silent.
I can't make myself do it. My mind just won't stop.
Well,
that's
okay.
nonsense.
That's okay. That's what the mind does. You just let it do your thing and just say thanks and go back to your.
Yes,
right. Yeah. Man.
What do you do if you itch? I always have an itch. Like if I'm trying to relax and not do anything, something itches.
Well, that means you're not really meditating, because all that goes away if you do it properly.
I know. I've never done it properly in my life.
Because I do it on the Upper West Side, and it's really loud outside the window, and you hear the trucks, and next thing you know, you go, whoa, wait, I didn't hear the trucks for the last 10 minutes. Then you know you're meditating.
I wrote a book recently, called The Dude and the Zen Master.
Nice.
And the Zen Master is this cat named Bernie Glassman.
Right.
Who is a homeboy here, and he's from New York, and we had a great time making that, and he's a wonderful guy. Yeah, he's...
What's it about?
It's about, talk about sitting, but Bernie came to me and he said, Jeff, you realize in Buddhist circles, the dude is considered the Zen master. I said, what are you talking about, man? He says, oh, yeah. He says, Lebowski is full of modern-day koans. Koans are these kind of Zen, questions that you have to, answer experientially,
right.
Sort of. And I said, what are you talking about? He says, well, look at it. The Koan brothers, for one thing. And then he mentions all these koans, like, like probably one of the most famous koans is, what's the sound of one hand clapping, that kind of thing. Makes your money. And I said, well, give me an example. He said, well, shut the fuck up, Donnie. There's a koan for you, and he kind of explained that, or the dude abides, or whatever. He says, let's write a book about the koans that are in Lebowski. So that's what the book is about.
Nice. I'm gonna have to pick that up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like we have to plug what the movie is because they're telling us we have like 8 minutes left. R.I.P.D. It opens Friday.
I can talk
19th.
to Jeff Bridges all morning.
All I want to do is ask you questions about movies. You fucking Fearless. I loved Fearless. One of the best.
Big Lebowski, obviously.
Oh, that's a good one.
Fearless or Big Lebowski?
Both.
The Big Lebowski.
I think Fearless. Big Lebowski got a tremendous amount of love. But Fearless, I thought, was very underrated.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
In hindsight,
I thought so.
Jagged Edge, going way back. I mean, you know, it's crazy. Look at how many movies he's done.
Yeah, it's a very impressive resume going back to I think the early '70s.
Now you've had a bomb or two, right? Is that a bad?
Yeah.
Is that a bad feeling when you know the movie just didn't work?
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes, so many things have to come together to make it, a success.
You got to count on so many people doing their parts.
Things, Yeah, I remember I made a movie that I really enjoyed called The Amateurs. Great cast. It was all about a little town making a porn movie. We had a great time making it, and the guy who distributed was a crook, and it just never saw the light of day at all. But you got to kind of let it go.
So is that movie not out there anywhere?
It's probably on DVD or something. It's really funny. Ted Danson is just great at it.
Wow.
Wonderful.
That's so weird.
Yeah, well,
they just shelved
all the time.
They just put the movie on the shelf for
years.
years.
Well, yeah, the guy went bankrupt and fell apart.
And no one could go and say, screw it, let's try to figure out how to get this out there.
No. Huh. Yeah, drove the poor writer and director who was wonderful, Mike Traeger. Kind of, gave him a stroke, and can you imagine working on something for a couple of years and then just
it's your baby.
Oh, and it's your baby.
And you get Jeff Bridges and Ted Danson to do it.
Right.
Oh man,
like that's a miracle in itself.
Oh,
and I got these guys, and you're telling me that no one's going to see this?
Scummy distributor fucks everything up for you. Oh, that's awful.
We got to talk about the new movie, obviously.
R.I.P.D. I want to make sure I get it right. You are a slain police officer who joins a team of undead police officers working for the Rest in Peace Department.
Close. No cigar, man.
No? Once again, the fucking idiot. Yes. By the way, I am just reading.
Jeff, I just want you to know you're on a very professional show here.
Yeah.
Of course, I can
it might not
that.
sound that way, or seem that way, I should say.
Here's what's going on. RIPD, first of all, it stands for Rest in Peace Department.
Okay, I have that.
Although some people are calling it RIPD. Which works all right.
Right.
But anyway, I play a marshal from the 1800s who is no longer with us. Dead. I belong to the Rest in Peace Department, and the Rest in Peace Department is made up of all of these wonderful peace officers who are now after dead people who want to be alive still and actually exist and are walking amongst us, and we are, taking them back where they belong. And I'm partnered with a wonderful actor, Ryan Reynolds, who's a modern-day cop who's also dead, and he wants to get back amongst the living, and we are hunting deados.
Okay, so wait, if Ryan Reynolds was recently killed, maybe this is accurate then. Maybe he's the recently slain cop.
There you go.
It sort of made sense. A recently slain cop joins a team of undead police officers, but he's not the recently slain cop. He's from the 1800s, Mr. Jeff Bridges.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Do you like playing a guy from back then more, or do you prefer playing a modern guy more, or do you not care?
I do not care. It's fun cowboy guys. I love the, westerns. They're wonderful.
What's amazing about you though is like no matter who you play, whether it's a cowboy or whether it's Barney or whether you always bring some. You never seem to play you always play an interesting guy doing that as opposed to some predictable version of that character, if that makes any sense.
Thank you.
There's always some weirdness to it, and really, no one can play what you do the way you do it.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
And I know that was really a kind of shitty, off-kilter compliment.
I'll take it.
No, but I mean that. How do you? I always ask great actors, how do you make something yours when you see it?
Well, when you're preparing for the role, what I do is look inside myself, think of different aspects of myself that, kind of work for the character, and I might magnify those, and got aspects of myself that don't. I'll kind of kick to the side, and so kind of like that. And then I look, I find when I'm working, it's probably like with you guys. Aren't you always looking for things to put on the show?
Oh, yeah.
I'm just open and I'm looking at people. I say, oh, see how he's twirling that? I think I'll use that in the move. Just that my mind's always,
always working.
Always working.
Smart.
You'll incorporate something that you see or experience during the day.
Yeah.
Are you?
God, I hope my pen twirling ends up in a Jeff Bridges movie. I'll go, that was because of me. I know it.
Or does
you do it just for me?
Exactly.
His next role, he'll just ask completely wrong things to a guest, and that will be the contribution from this program. Do you? Are you the same? Like when the camera cuts, do you live in the role for a little while, or are you immediately back to being Jeff?
It's funny. I remember doing an interview at home one day, and the guy asked me that same question, and I said, I'm really not the kind of actor who takes his work home, and I don't have people call me by my character's name and that sort of thing. And I was doing the movie Jagged Edge, where I was playing a psychopath basically. And the guy says, "Oh, really? You don't do that?" And my wife happened to be in the room, and she went. I say, why did you do that, sir? She says, you don't think you do. You don't think you bring it home, but you do. So I think subconsciously the character lingers, but I'm not aware of it. I don't try to do it on purpose.
You're not afraid of like if you pick up something for a movie and you become this guy, you're not afraid of losing that like on the 2 or 3 days you have off or whatever. You're not afraid it's going to go away.
No, it's kind of a nice rest. Take a rest from it. It seems to pop back.
It does.
Yeah.
Did you know Marlon Brando?
No.
Really? I'm always trying to talk to people.
Yeah, I admire him.
We had James Lipton in, and he discussed Brando. I just love hearing about how fucking nuts Marlon Brando was. I can never get sick of.
My brother worked with him.
In what?
Actually, it turned out that he was replaced by James Mason, but he rehearsed with Brando for a long time. And Bo, he told me a story. He said, was working with Marlon, and Marlon came up to me and he said, Bo, would you mind if I put my lines on your forehead? Bo says, well, sure, Marlon, but why? I'm just curious. He said, well, I want to have eye contact. I want to appear that I'm looking at you.
Yeah, it's funny. I'd heard stories about that, and I never knew if it was true.
Well, did he do it?
Yes,
he did it
with Marlon Brando. Whatever, Marlon.
But I would think he's just saying that to see if you would go, sure. No, he really meant it.
There's so many weird ways of acting. Another thing I heard that maybe Brando invented this, but I work with other actors who use this, and it's kind of fascinating. You know what an earwig is?
No. Is it the earpiece?
Yeah, it's a little earpiece that you put in, they can't see, And this particular actor, and I hear Brando did this all the time, didn't memorize his lines at all. And he had an assistant in another room who would give him his lines.
Wow.
So this actor that I was working with, you'd be talking to him, and he would have this kind of blank stare around, and then there'd be a pause, and then he would he'd say his line, and it was a kind of a wonderful effect. It was something that I wanted to try.
But how didn't it look like you weren't in the moment if it required a faster, like if you have to cock your head to hear?
Yeah. But fortunately, the guy's character's name was Some Idiot.
They could edit that out, too.
But wouldn't it be wild?
Is it an actor we know?
Yeah, but I'm not going to.
I figured you wouldn't. I'm not going to push it, but is it a pretty famous one?
Yeah. But wouldn't it be great if, a whole play like that, where everybody had earwigs, there was no lines, and there were people in the other room just giving him, stuff. I think it would be an interesting effect.
That would be amazing, yeah. If you hope that the piece works, because there's nothing worse than watch.
Exactly.
Would they actually, in Final Cut, would they take the dialogue and put it closer together? Would they cut out that pause time, or would they leave it?
They just left it. In this case, the guy's name's Some Idiot. They just leave it. That glaze, it worked.
Yeah, I heard Brando did that because he just didn't feel like doing the work anymore. But then I heard on The Godfather, if you see screen caps of that, there's lines written all over the kitchen.
Yeah, a lot of ways to do it, man. A lot of ways to do it.
Do you find are you more comfortable knowing everything before you go in, or do you kind of like to learn as you go?
I like to know my stuff, but each one is different. I remember a couple of them. Like I did a movie with Tommy Lee Jones, one of my favorite actors. Blown Away it was, and we're getting towards the climax of the scene. We all knew from the beginning that scene wasn't working. We said, well, we'll fix it. And it was the day, and they couldn't fix it, man. What are we going to do? Well, put it on the damn cards, man. They put it on, and I've got to, do this scene with one of my favorite actors with reading cards off the back, from behind his head, stuff like that.
What do you mean? The fixes that they put for the scene?
Not the fixes. The whole, I had like a monologue, the whole big thing, and or with Iron Man, you'd think with a $200 million movie they'd have a script, but often Downey and Favreau and I would be in our trailer working on the scene for that day, trying to write it, while they're all tapping their foot waiting for us to come to work, and we're, saying, okay, you play my part, I'll play your part, let's figure it, Favreau. Oh, I know a good writer. Let me call this writer up. He might have some ideas.
No way.
Yes, man.
You would never think on a big budget film that happened.
So that freaked me out.
Of course.
Like I was saying, my MO is, learning my lines, and then so I don't have to think about it. But I made so it drove me crazy at first, but then I made a little inner adjustment. It just said, oh, Jeff, you're making a $200 million student film. Just relax, have fun, and look at the result. It came out
was great.
So there's a lot of ways to do it, man.
The process is so interesting, isn't it?
It's
sometimes
it's fucking, because I've done it, and it's really hard to do well, and I'm amazed by guys who do it so well.
I have a follow-up question. So the blown away scene, did it end up working in the end?
Not
really,
huh? I mean, when I watch movies that I'm in, there is a home movie aspect to it, because I remember, everything that went down. I'm not just following the story, so that it's stuck in my craw.
Gotcha.
Is there a monologue you look back on, or a moment you look back on, and you go like that? If that's something I would want everyone to remember me by, like one moment or one monologue that you felt like I did that really well.
One that comes to mind, I don't know if it was a monologue, but it just popped into my head, was the dude getting into the car with the Big Lebowski, trying to backpedal, and get in the tow and all that stuff. I dug that scene quite a bit.
Yeah, that movie's
well, those guys, those writers, man. I mean,
they were great.
Coen brothers, God.
They made a lot of great films.
And they make it look so easy,
Right.
Yeah. I think he's got to go. Thanks.
Well, yeah, the last thing I have to say is we interviewed your brother once on the phone. The Incident is fantastic.
Yeah.
Drives me nuts that everybody doesn't know that movie.
Oh, yeah, that's a great movie.
Was that his first?
Marty Sheen, yeah.
And
I don't know if it was his first, but that was early, yeah.
And Ed McMahon.
Ed McMahon, right.
And Brock Peters. It was such a great movie.
Yeah.
About just a problem on a train. It was Martin Sheen's first movie.
I really don't know the movie.
Oh, it's
now
black
I got to
and
see
white.
that too.
Tony Masante. It was really great, and that's all I wanted to do was talk to Bo Bridges about it. So whenever there's a Bridges around, I have to mention it.
Sure.
All right, R.I.P.D. Obviously with Ryan Reynolds and Jeff Bridges opens this Friday, July 19th. And you are on Twitter, the Jeff Bridges, spelled with a J, Jeff Bridges, on Twitter. And do you read all your at mentions?
No, man. I don't even know what that is. My at mentions. I have someone handle all the Facebook and Twitter stuff. What's this vining? Do you know about that? What is that? That's the next thing?
It's people are enjoying it. What is it, 6, 7 seconds?
6-second videos.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. And then they can jack with it and do weird things with it?
Yeah, and Instagram is like 15-second videos.
I like the Instagram.
You can get a lot done in 15 seconds.
It's all happening too fast for me, man. I don't dig that.
No, you don't like the technology?
No, I mean, it's too overwhelming, isn't it? I mean, if you don't answer your emails for a couple of days, forget it. You're just swamped.
Yeah, can you picture life anymore without computers or email? I can't picture life without it.
I'm hooked for it. I kind of dig it and hate it all at the same time.
Or leaving your house without your phone. That's like a tragedy now.
Yeah.
We come from a time where you just did that. You didn't have a phone.
Yeah, and everybody can get you anytime.
I used to like being off the grid.
Yeah, I still.
Not that I was doing crazy shit. It was just nice. Like, it's just me for a few hours. No one could get a hold of me.
Do you remember leaving for the airport and you knew you'd call the guy when you got to the hotel?
Right.
There was no way to get a hold of you unless I used a payphone in the airport. So it would be 6-7 hours before you could talk to somebody. And now I'm literally texting until the door.
No, I don't text.
Oh, you don't?
My wife texts and she feels all modern.
She feels all modern.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, that's another thing. You got to keep up. I don't want to keep up, man. God.
Well, what do you do for fun when you're not acting? I know you got to go, but the music, which you're hitting the road with.
I like, I do ceramics,
photography too. I heard
photography. Yeah.
Do you take pictures of the other actors?
That's the main thing I do. Yeah.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. I'll get you guys a book. I took some shots of RIPD. I'll get you guys a.
Oh yeah, I'd love to see
that.
that.
Yeah,
absolutely. He loves his photography. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You're a photographer?
No, I mean you do.
You do, but no,
I
take pictures with people, and I do them. I do it poorly. No, I don't take very good pictures.
Jimmy's thing is he's obsessed with getting pictures with celebrities.
I like to do it.
Yeah.
It's an obsession, though.
Yeah, and you do like this self thing?
I have a couple of
Selfies?
times. Yeah, I got
Selfies,
Sidney
yeah.
Poitier in a pharmacy. I had to do a shitty iPhone selfie. But what you got to do is what you got to do when you're getting fucking Cialis in Beverly Hills.
So if you say no to a picture after this interview, it'll make my day.
No,
certainly, because he'll be so bummed out. He will be bummed out.
I wouldn't be angry. I would just be sad.
I was on a flight with Joe Pesci recently, and he wouldn't take the picture because of everything you're talking about. I just wanted a picture with Joe Pesci. He goes, "Oh man, I just don't look good right now. I flew all night. It was like one of those red eyes, and he just would not take the picture." I'm like, "Look, I don't even need to tweet it. I just want a picture with you."
Maybe you could have taken a picture with his hand.
Yeah,
you just put his hand in the frame.
You just put your hand out.
That is Joe Pesci.
That's a great one. It's the next one that says no.
Yeah.
that one bummed me out.
Yeah.
I'm not as obsessed like Jimmy, but that one was a bummer. I was like,
I don't want to creep out my new Hollywood best friend.
Yeah, we feel like we're friends with you now.
Good, man. That's the
You
way
better
to
come
feel.
back.
Yeah.
You should come back with the band and play a song. We would love that.
Yeah, okay, good deal. Yeah.
You gonna come in perform in New York?
Next time we're gonna go to Texas and Nashville, and then we're working our way up the coast. Yeah, we'll get up here.
All right.
Well, the great Jeff Bridges, I love you. I think you're fantastic. So.
Thank you, man.
Thank you.
And the movie's R.I.P.D. and it opens Friday, so let's all go see that.
All right.
All right, Jeff Bridges, everyone.
See you guys.
Opie and Anthony Show on Sirius X.